Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. A manhunt on St. Thomas is underway. Police officials called together an emergency press conference Thursday morning where they notified media about a suspect or suspects on the run. News 2's Erica Bivens is standing by with the latest. Erica?
That's right, Sandy. As of late afternoon, police are still searching for at least one suspect on St. Thomas. Acting Police Commissioner Rodney Carrard called the meeting with reporters this morning after a burglary occurred in the Estate Bakkeroe area just after 3 a.m. The burglar or burglars set off the house alarm, which notified police. Carrard explains what happened on the scene.
Officers called for assistance after observing an open window. A suspect was observed in the residence by officers, and shots were exchanged after the suspect fired at officers from inside of the residence. The suspect or suspects, the investigation is ongoing to determine that, but right now at least one suspect fled the scene on foot, and officers attempted to pursue. But due to the terrain and darkness, canine officers were called to respond to the scene.
No officers were injured, thankfully. Now, police are describing the suspect as a dark black male, slim build, wearing a green bandana and dark shirt with white writing. Blood was also found at the scene, indicating at least one of the suspects was injured there. If you know anyone fitting this description, police encourage you to call any of those numbers on your screen. That's 775-5522 for Criminal Investigation Bureau detectives, 715-5506 for Carrard's office, or you can call Crime Stoppers USVI at 1-800-222-TIPS. Police also encourage medical institutions to notify them of anyone coming in fitting that description, and anyone found harboring a suspect could face criminal prosecution. That's the latest for now. Sandy?
A federal jury found 32-year-old Lisa Herrera guilty on 2 counts charging making a false statement in an application for a United States passport after a one-day jury trial in district court. According to the evidence, Herrera submitted a passport application for the benefit of her minor daughter, along with a fraudulent Puerto Rican birth certificate as proof of the minor's United States citizenship. She faces a maximum penalty of 10 years imprisonment for making a false statement in an application for a United States passport and a maximum of 5 years imprisonment for submitting a false document. Herrera also faces a maximum fine of $250,000. On Wednesday, Coastal Zone Management met to make a decision on a permit for Coral World's proposed $5 million dolphin exhibit, and after about an hour and a half of questioning, the committee voted and approved the permit, with only one member voting against it. Both Coral World staff and opponents of the project attended the meeting, although public comments were not allowed. News 2 spoke with individuals from both sides on their reactions as well as the next step for Coral World.
It'd be nice to see if some of these folks, people would be put in cages and forced to perform. I feel that we have a serious problem as it relates to water quality. And it's all about economics and political nepotism.
There are a lot of conditions and all that we will have to evaluate and look at, the total impact to the project. But I would say the first reaction is, yes, this is a good thing. It's a good thing for Coral World. It's a good thing for St. Thomas. But there are additional federal steps that have to be made. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers also has to approve the project.
Outpatient services at the Juan Luis Hospital and Medical Center will now cost you a little bit more. The hospital's board voted Wednesday to increase those services by 12.5% to help generate revenue for the struggling hospital. It's a step towards offsetting the 5% budget cut imposed on all agencies by Governor DeYoung. News 2's Erica Parsons has that story.
Patients can expect to pay 12.5% more for same-day procedures at the Juan Luis Hospital. The board voted in favor of increasing outpatient services costs to help raise revenues for the struggling hospital. That proposal met with opposition from board member Imelda Dizon, according to a Daily News report which said Dizon objected since the VI is still recovering from an economic crisis and many residents are without health insurance. Last September, the board voted to approve a measure to charge a $2,000 setup fee for operating room surgeries as a way to also increase revenues.
Currently, for the first 15 interval and every 15-minute interval after that, there's no differentiation. It's only $349. And I say only because if someone is in there for just 15 minutes doing a very small procedure, $349 just does not cover the costs of the traveling nurses, the scrub techs for sterilizing equipment, for all the other costs associated.
That too caused some discussion from Dizon, who thought it was too much to charge considering the territory's economic condition, but officials say these changes will go a little way towards counteracting the 5% budget cut Governor DeYoung recently imposed on all agencies to help bridge the fiscal budget shortfall. Hospital officials say they need to find $2 million in order to make up the 5% budget cut expected March 1st. The increased rates for outpatient services could bring about $600,000, but they still need more. The board also voted and approved a contingency plan that would cut or reduce certain contracted services for the hospital to help bridge the gap added by the budget cut. Hospital officials say they expect to save more than $970,000 if they implement that plan. Erica Parsons, News 2.
Juan Louis hospital officials were unavailable for comment Thursday since they've been working to submit a plan of correction to Centers for Medicare and Medicaid due Friday. The Department of Agriculture is gearing up for its 42nd annual Agriculture and Food Fair in St. Croix. This year's theme, Grow, Eat, and Live, will showcase the importance of agriculture while showcasing the local foods, crafts, and entertainment. News 2's Janisha John brings us more on this year's Agriculture and Food Fair.
One of the most highly anticipated weekends on St. Croix is right around the corner as residents get ready to grow, eat, and live for the 42nd annual Agriculture and Food Fair.
It's the 42nd Agriculture and Food Fair of the Virgin Islands. This year the theme is Grow, Eat, and Live. One of the things that we try to do is to make sure that everybody has something that they can come in and enjoy.
Thousands are expected to flood the agricultural fairgrounds this weekend. Meanwhile, tent building and last-minute preparations are being done to prepare for the many activities the fair will host.
This year there's going to be a lot of different vendors. There's going to be a lot of plants for farmers. We are expecting a lot of great things, and it's going to be very exciting.
Attendees will be able to enjoy local-made food and drinks, live entertainment and arts and craft, while visiting various vendors, seeing exotic and local plants and animals, and taking part in live cultural demonstrations and games, all as a way to understand the role of agriculture in the territory.
The main objective is to highlight the production of agriculture in the Virgin Islands. That is our main objective, so that people can see that we are doing a lot of things that can assist us to help ourselves. That means feed ourselves.
And while learning about agriculture is the main objective, the large amount of cultural and social activities all in one place makes the Ag Fair weekend one to experience.
There's a lot of different activities that we don't see day to day on an everyday basis that they can see right here on the fairgrounds from the 16th to the 18th of February, coming on Saturday, and we're here all the way to Monday.
Janisha John, News 2.
And TV2 will also be at the Agriculture and Food Fair. Come visit us anytime from Saturday through Monday at the innovative booth between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Entry is $6 for adults, $4 for seniors, and $3 for children. The Department of Health, meanwhile, will be providing free health screenings during all 3 days of this year's Ag Fair. They'll be working together with UVI, Barry University, and Frederiksted Healthcare to screen for blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol. Flu vaccines and discreet HIV testing will also be available, as well as a puppet demonstration on dental hygiene. The free screenings will begin after the opening ceremony ends on Saturday and will be offered from 10 to 4 on Sunday and Monday. Residents are encouraged to visit the Department of Health's tent. Passengers on board the broken down cruise ship Triumph are counting the hours until they are back on land. The ship, with about 4,000 people on board, is expected to arrive in Mobile, Alabama this evening. Randall Pinkston is at the port.
The gangway is in place. The terminal has been scrubbed clean for the arrival of the disabled Carnival cruise ship Triumph. It's expected to be towed into the port of Mobile this evening. 3,000 passengers, 1,000 crew are on board, many of their families waiting anxiously in Mobile.
I'm thinking that we probably won't see any passengers off the vessel until about 7 o'clock tonight, maybe 8.
We came to get our girls.
Mary Poray and Kim McCarrigan drove 8 hours from Lufkin, Texas to pick up their daughters, who are on the ship with their dads. They say the girls have been crying.
Mommy, I'm so scared. Mommy, I don't know what to do.
And your daughter's been on cruises before.
She's been on this is her 6th one. She knew. I mean, never had any problems. Nothing like this happened.
A fire knocked out the ship's power on Sunday. Since then, passengers say life on board has been miserable and disgusting. There's been limited access to food and bathrooms. McCarrigan says toilets have been replaced by plastic bags. Her daughter and her ex-husband have been eating onion sandwiches.
She was crying. She was like, Mama, it was so hot because they put the mattresses in the hallway.
The ship is not expected to reach the port of Mobile until after nightfall. Carnival plans to bus the passengers to hotels in Galveston or Houston, Texas, or New Orleans. Several other Carnival ships have been loading supplies and food aboard the Triumph. Carnival is paying for transportation and hotel rooms for the passengers. They're also giving out full refunds for the cruise, a credit towards a future cruise, and $500 cash.
That was Randall Pinkston reporting. Police in Southern California say they did not intentionally burn down the cabin where Christopher Dorna apparently died. Dorna was a murder suspect with a grudge against the LAPD. 2 of his final victims say he didn't seem like a bad man. Karen and Jim Reynolds are breaking their silence. They're the owners of Mountain Vista Resort, where the property where alleged cop killer Christopher Dorna had been hiding the day police tracked him down. On a routine check of one of their units, Dorna surprised them from upstairs. Although he had broken in and tied them up, he felt compelled to pay them an unexpected compliment. Dorna left the couple behind and tried to take their car, but soon he returned, asking how to start their keyless Nissan. Later, the Reynolds managed to undo the restraints and called police. A few hours later, the manhunt was over. And although the Reynolds were aware of Dorna's alleged trail of violence, they say they couldn't help but feel some compassion for their captor. Keeping our eye on the economy, American Airlines and U.S. Airways announced they are officially merging. The $11 billion deal will create the world's largest airline, but some analysts worry reduced competition will mean higher ticket prices. The combined airline will be called American and offer more than 6,700 flights a day. There's more encouraging news about the job market. In other news, the government says the number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits fell last week by 27,000 to a 3-week low. Experts say it's a sign that hiring could be improving. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank Stock Market Watch. The Dow down 9, Nasdaq up 1, S&P up 1. Coming up on News2, if you were in Emancipation Garden at about noon today, a group of women broke out in dance, flash mob style, and they joined millions of other women. Plus, some lovely history of love. Candy, flowers, and gifts are exchanged between loved ones, all in the name of Saint Valentine. But who is this mysterious saint? We'll be right back. Innovative customers on St. Thomas experienced an outage on Thursday after a vehicle collision with a telephone pole adjacent to the Clinton Phipps racetrack in the Bavoni area caused damage to the company's telecommunications plant. Due to the damage, customers with voice, data, and cable TV in the Bavoni area were affected. Innovative technical crews were dispatched to the area to work on the damaged site and are expected to restore all Innovative services by Thursday evening. Innovative apologizes for any inconvenience this incident may have caused its customers. Well, if you were in Emancipation Garden at about noon today, then you saw what all the commotion was about. In honor of 1 billion Rising, a group of women broke out in dance, flash mob style. Over 200 countries worldwide participated in a similar way, along with St. Thomas. Dressed in red and pink, members from VI Zumba and other individuals took part by choreographing the dance, which they performed in front of curious bystanders. Family Resource Center Executive Director Vivian St. Just says the surprise dance was all about breaking the chain.
We're standing with 1 billion Rising. It's a group of persons who have decided that today we're going to take a stand. We're going to take a stand against domestic violence, sexual assault, genital mutilation. We're going to take a stand against not having funds to do the work that we need to do. We're going to take a stand against the violence that faces men, women, children in our community.
Meanwhile, 1 billion rise in protest movement came to the British Parliament today and drew celebrity supporters. Actress Tandy Newton and comedian Ruby Wax were among those who gathered at London's Parliament Square. The BAFTA-winning Newton read a poem by the movement's founder, Eve Ensler, of the Vagina Monologues fame. British lawmakers are debating a motion calling on the government to make relationship education a requirement in schools. The proposal has cross-party support. 109 purple balloons were released for every woman killed by her partner or former partner in the UK in 2012. A group of dancers told the story of women's struggles to rise together, fight, and ultimately become victorious together. Also, about 2,000 women and human rights activists paraded on the streets of Manila. Women in the Philippines danced on the streets and sang a local adaptation of the campaign jingle telling people to rise up against violence. Gabriela, Deputy Secretary General Obet Montez, says the Philippines has a growing level of violence against women due to the rise in economic inequality affecting marginalized sectors, with more cases reported among impoverished women. Well, every February 14th, candy, flowers, and gifts are exchanged between loved ones, all in the name of St. Valentine. But who is this mysterious saint? Well, there are many legends. The best known began in Rome when the Emperor Claudius II was involved in many bloody and unpopular campaigns. Claudius the Cruel, as he was called, was having a difficult time getting soldiers to join his military leagues. He believed that the reason was that Roman men did not want to leave their loves or families, so he canceled all marriages and engagements in Rome. The good saint, Valentine, who was a priest in Rome in the year 269 AD, together with his friend Saint Marius, defied Claudius and continued to perform marriages for young lovers in secret. When Valentine's actions were discovered, he was sentenced to be beaten to death with clubs and to have his head cut off. But while in prison, it is believed that Valentine fell in love with a young girl who may have been his jailer's daughter, who visited him during his confinement. Before his death on the 14th day of February, it is alleged that he wrote her a letter which he signed "From your Valentine" in 496 AD. Pope Gelasius set aside February 14 to honor St. Valentine. An estimated 1 billion Valentine's Day cards are sent each year, making Valentine's Day the second largest card-sending holiday of the year. Stick around, your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.